The day had started in the typical fashion, the routine of classes stretching on endlessly, until the promise of the impending weekend teased us all. Friday, 7th period. Anticipation crackled among us, evident in the fidgeting and whispers that filled the air. Even our usually tedious calculus class had taken an unexpected turn, morphing into an enjoyable escape as our teacher led us into a casual session of online games. Laughter and camaraderie flourished, temporarily banishing the monotony that had enveloped our days. The atmosphere was relaxed, a welcome departure from the usual solemnity of academia. We were engrossed in a brand logo quiz on Sporkly, reveling in the chance to momentarily divert our minds from the coursework. The mundane routine was momentarily shattered by the unexpected intrusion of Dean's voice cutting through the lightheartedness. The abruptness of his announcement, coupled with the panic in his tone, cast a pall of uncertainty over the room. Our teacher's composed demeanor faltered momentarily before swiftly taking charge, dimming the lights and guiding us to the back corner of the classroom. Confusion mingled with a growing sense of unease as we realized this was not a drill. Silence descended, broken only by the sudden cessation of the usual electronic hum, a stark signal that the school's power had been cut. An eerie tension hung thick in the air, the gravity of the situation slowly sinking in. Minutes stretched into an agonizing crawl as we sat, huddled together, our senses heightened and pulses racing. Little did we know, this seemingly ordinary day was about to veer into the realms of nightmare, an unforeseen event forever etching its mark on our memories. The tranquility of our playful classroom ambiance shattered when Dean's urgent voice sliced through the intercom. The command for lockdown sent a ripple of alarm through us. Our teacher, usually the epitome of composure, sprang into action. With a sense of urgency etched across his face, he moved swiftly to dim the lights and usher us to the most secure corner of the room. Silence descended like a heavy curtain, punctuated only by the abrupt cessation of the electronic buzz emanating from a panel in the room. The sudden absence of sound signaled the school's power outage, plunging us into an eerie darkness. The weight of the situation settled upon us, wrapping us in a suffocating blanket of apprehension and uncertainty. Minutes stretched interminably, each second magnified by the tension that hung thick in the air. Whispers were exchanged in hushed tones, but fear rendered them hollow. We clung to the faint hope that this was just a drill, a mistake, anything but the grim reality sinking into our consciousness. Outside our classroom sanctuary, the world seemed to have come to a standstill. The stillness was oppressive, the only indication of life being the shallow breaths we took, our hearts pounding in synchrony with the ticking clock. Little did we know, these moments of suspended time were merely the prelude to a harrowing ordeal that would sear its memory into our souls. The air crackled with fear as the distant echoes of pandemonium and a man's unhinged screams reverberated down the corridor. Dread seeped into the very fibers of our being as the chaotic commotion drew nearer. Panic surged through the classroom, a palpable force that amplified with each frenzied step of the approaching figure. The maddening cacophony outside our safe haven intensified, a symphony of terror orchestrated by the deranged individual. His shrieks sliced through the silence like jagged blades, sending shivers down our spines. With each echoing footfall, our collective breaths hitched, hearts racing in erratic rhythms. Then came the harrowing onslaught, a cacophony of violence as the man's rampage reached our vicinity. The metallic clang of lockers became a percussion of impending doom, each strike a thunderous declaration of menace. His distorted threats sliced through the air, injecting a paralyzing fear that seized us all. We were trapped in a vortex of terror, held captive by the raw, unfiltered madness lurking just beyond the thin barrier of our classroom door. Huddled together, we dared not even exchange glances, our wide eyes reflecting the terror that had consumed us. In those tense, agonizing moments, the fragility of our sanctuary became all too apparent, the palpable fear in the room a testament to the menacing presence that loomed just beyond our sight. The relentless barrage upon our classroom door intensified, each deafening strike reverberating through the very core of our beings. We cowered, breaths suspended in a collective gasp, while the desperate pleas of terrified classmates melded with the frantic cadence of our racing heartbeats. Our haven, once a place of learning and camaraderie, now felt like a fragile shell in the face of an unknown and unfathomable threat. The ominous presence outside wielded unseen, unimaginable terror, casting a shadow that eclipsed our every rational thought. Time distorted in that suffocating moment, elongating into an agonizing stretch that defied all semblance of reality. Every passing second was an eternity, each heartbeat a drumbeat of dread echoing in the confined space. We remained huddled, an unspoken pact of solidarity forged in fear, our eyes wide with unspoken dread as we waited for the inevitable breach. The specter of the unseen threat loomed large, its menacing silhouette casting an ominous pall over our fragile sanctuary. A collective sigh of relief escaped our lips as the threat outside dissipated, swallowed by the eerie silence that followed. The echoes of the man's frenzied outburst faded into the distance, leaving behind a haunting residue that lingered in the recesses of our consciousness. The return of the dean's voice over the intercom acted as a lifeline, injecting a semblance of order into the chaos that had engulfed us. His measured words provided a fleeting sense of reassurance amidst the lingering fear. Yet, with each detail revealed, a breach, an assailant on the loose, and an unsettling disappearance, the specter of uncertainty loomed large. The air was heavy with unresolved tension and lingering questions, painting an unsettling tableau in the aftermath of the harrowing ordeal. The once mundane classroom now bore the weight of an unforgettable experience, its walls holding the whispers of fear and the imprint of the unsettling events. As the day slowly resumed its semblance of normalcy, a chill lingered in the corridors, a constant reminder of the fragility of our sanctuary. The memory of that fateful day etched itself into the fabric of our young minds, a stark reminder that safety could be shattered in an instant, leaving behind an indelible mark that would forever alter the course of our ordinary lives. We have 2 lunch periods at my school. All 6th graders and some 7th graders have first lunch period. All 8th graders and the other half of the 7th graders eat lunch together during the second period. The lockdown took place at the start of October. It had been cloudy and rainy the day of the lockdown. There were 4 big booms that I heard during the first lunch break. I thought it was thunder, but everyone in the lunch throng began to scream. When campus security arrived and began yelling at everyone to enter the multi-purpose room, I thought those kids were just big pussies. The kids who were in line for lunch were told to throw out their food and enter the building. My pals and I entered the room with a sizable throng of other children. Everyone wanted to know what was going on. Our large multi-purpose space has a see-through glass wall along its back. When my friends and I were hurried into the university, security had curtains covering the windows, and there were grown-ups at each exit. Like the rest of us, my friend Eric was fascinated as well. He then inquired with an adult about what was happening. He said, "You know how right in front of TMS," when he returned. "Those houses are there." I said, "Yeah, there's this crazy mentally ill guy who's barricaded himself in front of his house and threatening to kill the police." Should he be kicked out, Eric told us that he was strangely observing children as he strolled about the school's grounds. To make matters worse, it turned out that the man was also a registered sexual offender. During 2 sessions, we were confined to the multi-purpose room for an entire hour. Following the resolution of the issue, each of us was led individually to our classroom. My buddy Brandy informed me about the previous Halloween, and I subsequently discovered that the man lives next to her. "Don't come here or I'll kill you" on his window. The man she saw at his window was cutting his arm and writing in his own blood. Naturally, since it was Halloween, many, including Brandy, thought it was only a holiday. We're relieved that this man went insane after such a dreadful event, though, and that it never happened to him. The familiar scent of the school's musty basement wrapped around me as I settled into my desk, the hum of servers a constant undercurrent to my thoughts. The computer lab had seen better days, wires snaked across the floor like dormant serpents, and piles of outdated manuals formed makeshift towers in the corners. But our little office, tucked away amidst the chaos, felt like a haven. Dave and Gary, my colleagues and former mentors, shared this sanctuary with me. 3 desks lined up in perfect symmetry, each adorned with its own clutter of tech journals and half-empty coffee mugs. The camaraderie we shared was tangible, born from years of mentorship that had transcended into genuine friendship. The comfort of their presence made this subterranean realm feel like a second home. The day unfolded in a blur of troubleshooting and banter, the routine easing the transition from college to the working world. We exchanged jokes, swapped stories, and even managed to brainstorm a few ideas for streamlining the school's outdated network systems. The illusion of safety shattered when the shrill ring of the phone pierced the air. I hesitated, a foreboding sensation creeping up my spine as I answered, my heart quickening at the urgency in the caller's voice. The front office secretary's panicked words about a potential intruder and a school-wide lockdown sent a chill down my spine. "Lockdown?" I echoed, my voice betraying a hint of disbelief. The basement, our sanctuary, suddenly felt less secure. I glanced at the wide opening that passed for our doorway, and the absence of a proper lock made my pulse race. As I relayed the information to Dave and Gary via text, a sense of unease settled in the pit of my stomach. Their lack of response, unusual for my usually prompt colleagues, only amplified my growing apprehension. The minutes crawled by, the silence deafening amidst the chaotic thoughts racing through my mind. I sat there trying to focus on work, but every click of a keyboard seemed deafening in the tension-filled air. Then, the basement door groaned open, a sound magnified in the otherwise silent space. My hand paused mid-air, hovering over the keyboard. Should I call out to Dave or Gary? The footsteps that followed approached our office. A sense of foreboding descended as I slid out of my chair and sought refuge under my desk, heart pounding against my ribcage. Someone entered, the darkness shrouding their form, their presence felt rather than seen. And in that darkness, time seemed to stretch infinitely, punctuated only by the erratic thudding of my heart. The fear of the unknown gripped me, amplifying every creak, every rustle. And then, the ominous ding of a text message shattered the silence, my blood running cold at the sound. A text from Dave. But before I could even register its contents, a hand grabbed me, pulling me from my hiding spot. Shivers traced icy paths down my spine as the stranger's grip tightened around my arm, dragging me out from under the desk. My heart thundered in my chest, the rush of adrenaline making my limbs feel heavy and uncoordinated. "It's okay," the stranger whispered urgently, his grip firm but not threatening. "I'm just hiding down here, same as you. What's happening upstairs?" A desperate need to trust someone battled against the knot of fear in my gut. The flickering hope of solidarity in this nightmarish situation warred with a deeper instinct to flee. "There's an exit that way," I stammered, pointing shakily towards the corner. My voice quivered, betraying the terror that gripped me. His features remained obscured in the darkness, but his voice carried a strange mix of urgency and panic. I wanted to believe him, but the cryptic text message from Dave, warning of danger upstairs, tore at the fragile fabric of trust I tried to extend to this stranger. "Who are you?" I managed to choke out, the words barely audible over the pounding of my heart. A pregnant pause hung in the air, thick with tension. I held my breath, my senses on high alert as the silence stretched unbearably. Just as he began explaining, my phone vibrated, jolting me. A message flashed on the screen, the glow casting eerie shadows in the dimly lit office. It was from Dave, and the words froze the blood in my veins. "Dude, this is fucking crazy. Some guy with a gun shot Mr. Buckley. He's wearing a red shirt and a hat. Whatever you do, don't come upstairs." Panic surged like a tidal wave. I looked up, my stomach dropping as I realized the chilling truth. The description matched the stranger standing before me. My breath caught in my throat, my mind a whirlwind of terror. In a flash, I understood the danger I was in. A gunshot thundered from above, the deafening sound ricocheting through the basement. Without another thought, instinct propelled me into action. I tore myself from the stranger's grip and bolted towards the stairs, every step echoing the pounding of my heart. Bullets seemed to whiz past me, the sound of their impact ringing in my ears. But luck was on my side, and I scrambled upstairs, propelled by sheer desperation. Thankfully, police officers, alerted to the situation, were positioned at the exits. The intruder was apprehended the moment he attempted to open the basement door. Relief washed over me as the immediate danger passed, but the echoes of that gunshot lingered in my mind, a haunting reminder of the fragility of safety and the horrors that can unfold in the most unexpected places. My legs trembled as I reached the top of the stairs, the adrenaline-fueled sprint leaving me breathless. Panic pulsed through my veins, but relief washed over me at the sight of the uniformed officers securing the exits. The intruder, the man in red, was apprehended before he could wreak further havoc. Yet, amidst the chaos and the swarm of authorities, a chilling realization dawned on me. The man who claimed to be hiding with me in the basement was the very person described in Dave's text message, the man who had shot Mr. Buckley. My mind raced with conflicting thoughts. Should I alert the authorities? What if this man had accomplices? But the urgency of the situation overtook my apprehension, propelling me to flee the danger zone. My feet carried me, my breaths labored as I darted toward safety. The sudden eruption of chaos behind me echoed in the basement. A gunshot thundered through the air, the deafening sound reverberating off the walls. The whiz of a bullet grazed too close, the rush of adrenaline urging me to move faster. The basement seemed endless as I sprinted through the darkness, every step a desperate plea for survival. The distant shouts and commotion spurred me on, my only focus on reaching the relative safety of the main school building. Finally, the dim light at the top of the stairs promised escape. But just as I neared the threshold, a shadow loomed, blocking my path. My heart leaped to my throat as I skidded to a stop, barely avoiding a collision. It was Dave, his eyes wide with alarm. "Don't go that way," he gasped between breaths, grabbing my arm and steering me away from the danger. "The guy's been caught, but it's not safe yet." Relief flooded through me at the sight of a familiar face, but his words jolted me with a renewed sense of vulnerability. "But Dave," I stammered, "there was someone else down there with me. He claimed to be hiding, but—" Dave's expression darkened, his eyes scanning the chaotic scene behind us. "We'll sort it out," he said firmly, glancing at his phone. "Just stay close and stay safe." As we retreated to a more secure area, a distant wail of sirens heralded the arrival of additional law enforcement. The chilling realization that the man who sought refuge with me was the assailant struck me with a profound sense of dread. I shuddered at the near miss, the reality sinking in that danger can lurk where we least expect it. The nightmarish ordeal left an indelible mark, a haunting reminder that safety is often an illusion shattered in an instant. Relief washed over me as the authorities swiftly contained the situation. Police swarmed the premises, securing every corner of the school. The intruder, the man in the red shirt and hat, was finally in custody. The tense grip of fear loosened, replaced by a collective sigh of relief among the staff and students. Details slowly emerged about the intruder's motives. It was a chilling revelation. The man harbored a grudge against Mr. Buckley, one of the school's beloved teachers, for reasons unknown to anyone else. The assailant's intentions remained shrouded in mystery, leaving a disconcerting sense of unease among the school community. In the aftermath, a haunting reality settled over me. The sanctuary I once considered the basement, where camaraderie and comfort thrived, had transformed into the epicenter of a traumatic incident. The gunshot's echo reverberated in my mind, a constant reminder of the fragility of security and the abrupt disruption of a seemingly safe environment. The days that followed were a blur of interviews with law enforcement and counseling sessions aimed at helping us cope with the harrowing experience. But despite the support, the memory of that night remained vivid, etched into my consciousness like a nightmare unwilling to fade. The school, once bustling with life and laughter, now bore the weight of a somber atmosphere. Students exchanged hushed whispers, teachers wore weary expressions, and a palpable tension lingered in the air. As time passed, the incident became a cautionary tale, a reminder that safety is an illusion easily shattered. I found solace in the resilience of the human spirit, in the way the community rallied together in the face of adversity. But the scars left by that fateful night ran deep, The sense of security I once took for granted had been irreversibly altered. The trust I held in the familiar spaces was forever tinged with a sense of caution. Yet, amidst the shadows of that haunting event, a newfound appreciation for life's unpredictability emerged. I reflected on the resilience of the human spirit, the way we adapt and persevere in the aftermath of tragedy. The story didn't end with closure but lingered as a cautionary tale, a testament to the fragility of safety and the enduring impact of unforeseen violence. And as life slowly returned to a semblance of normalcy, the memory of that chilling night remained, a poignant reminder of the unpredictability of our world. Subscribe if you're interested in more creepy videos.